Okay, that's strangely close to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Daniel, is that you? Beat the Chiefs. Show me. If the Broncos and Russell Wilson can show me that they can beat the Chiefs, then I will start believing.
The crowd up. And so are this defense, and Kansas City won't snap the ball again. The Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
David Montgomery on the Lions. Former Bear. Gotta make this his revenge game for sure. David Montgomery gets the touchdown that ices the game. No! And there's a flag. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. Snap. Hold. Kick.
Denver wins! Denver wins! Let's go!
They open! No!
What happened? Oh, shit.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the only football podcast tonight. We're going to be talking about the NFC West, NFC South predictions for those divisions. Kyle and I are going to tell you who we think are going to win those divisions. But before that, we are going to cover some news topics. We're going to talk about Courtland Sutton's extension. Treylon Burks is no longer a Titan. Christian Wilkins is no longer a Raider, and there is some stuff going on there. We're going to cover all that. Then we're going to get into our division predictions, and of course, we're going to end it off with the Chives with Kyle. Let's get it. America is football. Football is
America. And if you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass. For the moment in time, I don't give a damn. Oh my God!
No!
You love this.
30 to 27.
No!
Chiefs win. Chiefs win 30 to 20. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Only Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Kyle, and that is Rick. And today, we open this podcast with big news from Denver. The Broncos and Courtland Sutton, star wide receiver, have agreed to a 4-year, $92 million contract, locking him through the 2029 NFL season. The deal was reported not too long ago by Tom Pelissero, so you know it's real, and it includes an average annual salary of $23 million starting in 2026. So this is a significant raise from his previous $13.5 million base for 2025. And Courtland Sutton has been wanting this contract for a while. Last year, Courtland Sutton was holding out, but it was really holding in. You know, you go to practice, but you don't practice.
The scary Terry thing going on right now.
Right. And they were able to fix his contract in a way where he made like another $1 million. And it was like, okay, I guess I got another $1 million, so I'll go back to work. And he was happy. But this is significant. Like I said earlier, he's going from $13.5 million to $23 million. This is nearly $10 million of a raise. It matters too for a couple of reasons. One, for those that don't maybe follow the Denver Broncos news as hard, Courtland Sutton, a 2018 second-round pick, he's been a cornerstone for our franchise for a while. Now, this includes all of the years that we didn't have a franchise quarterback. Courtland Sutton had to deal with that quarterback carousel they show every time the Broncos played until we got Bo Nix. It would be that quarterback carousel going around, and it's like, then Paxton Lynch, and then this guy, and this guy, and this guy, Teddy Bridgewater. And
so hot.
You're just like, oh my God, they've had a lot of quarterbacks, and they missed on all of them. Drew Lock, whatever. The point is Courtland Sutton has had to have the production of a wide receiver one without the luxury of having a Joe Burrow, a Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah.
a Josh Allen. And to be at this point in his career and finally get the nod of a guy that's going to be paid like a real wide receiver number one is really just a testament to all the work he's put in. The fact that he has always been a strong leader. He's never been one to shit on his quarterback. And that means any one of the quarterbacks that he's had when he could have shit on all of them. He had Russell Wilson's back, Bridgewater. I'm telling you, like, it's just like, it's so satisfying to see a guy that really just put his head down and worked and just what he could control and left the rest up to the people upstairs. And finally, he's getting what he deserves. And he's been really vocal about seeking a new contract. He did skip voluntary OTAs in 2024, like I said, with his previous deal. It was actually $2 million, I believe, that was added, not one, but still nothing significant like what this is. So this is, I guess, somebody that is going to be in the Ring of Fame now. And this is kind of what makes this significant is there was a fork in the road. Courtland Sutton has done so much for us up to this point that he was considered in the same way Justin Simmons is.
Yeah.
And Justin Simmons, they let go. In Courtland Sutton, had they let go, he was just going to be one of those great Broncos that we remember, nothing more than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because they locked him up for the next 4 years, the Broncos took a left turn. They didn't go on that Justin Simmons. They said, let's pay our player and let's do this the right way. When you can do it the right way, it's awesome. Courtland Sutton was drafted to replace, rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas. And that is why when Demaryius Thomas passed away and the Broncos played the Detroit Lions, the head coach for the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell, got midfield before kickoff, and the Broncos told them what they were going to do to honor Demaryius Thomas. And what they were going to do is they were going to take a delay of game by only having 11 men on the field. I'm sorry, 10 men on the field. And then after the delay of game, which the Lions, of course, would decline, Courtland Sutton, who was playing that wide receiver X position, would come in and fill where Demaryius Thomas was. And Demaryius Thomas, and that's why they had Courtland Sutton do that, is because Courtland Sutton is when we drafted Courtland Sutton, it was all being compared to Demaryius Thomas. It's like he's as tall as Demaryius Thomas, he's a little bit faster than Demaryius Thomas. And Demaryius Thomas is a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. So the best Broncos wide receiver of all time, numbers wise, and that includes guys like Rod Smith. So this was big shoes to fill, and the Broncos drafted Courtland Sutton to be the Demaryius Thomas prototype as Demaryius Thomas was aging. When Courtland Sutton really hit the scene, of course, the Broncos let Demaryius Thomas go, who would go to Houston. And weirdly enough, when the Broncos traded him to Houston, it was in the middle of the season, and 5 years later, the Houston Texans played the Broncos, and he had to come to Denver as a visitor. I mean, in 5 days, like, you can't emotionally prepare for that. It was like Demaryius Thomas was here, and it was just heartbreaking for Bronco fans, and it was heartbreaking for him. And that is how close we were to Demaryius Thomas. So all of us basically giving Courtland Sutton the nod tells you how high we value Courtland Sutton. And I think Courtland Sutton deserves it. If you look up the top 10 catches for the last 3 years, you're going to find 4 or 5 Courtland Suttons on any given year. Last year, he had 4 of the top 10 catches of the year. They got once in a while, he'll drop one like this, but he makes up for it for the ridiculous catch radius,
the tiptoes in the touchdothen in the end zone,
the knee down, the Russell Wilson running around on 4th down, throwing it, and then more importantly, like, he's just a great guy and a leader. Also, really good at drawing offensive or defensive pass interference. Some guys just have an ability to do that. Cortland Sutton's won us a game that way. So I'm just so happy to, and I'm sure Bo Nix is happy to hear that, hey, the guy, your number one receiver, well, he's going to be here for the entirety of your rookie contract. And you can really get that continuity, and you don't have to worry about getting a new number one. And this is the right move for Denver, because had Cortland gone somewhere else, we didn't have a number one. We did not have somebody, as much as Denver says we could move on from him, who's going to fill that role of a number one? We got a lot of good number twos like Green Bay, but Cortland's the best thing, the closest thing to an all-star wide receiver one. I don't think he is that Justin Jefferson type of one, but he's the closest thing we got to it. You can't let him go.
Yeah, and you had mentioned early on to when talking about Cortland Sutton, is that he has gone through a lot of subpar quarterback play, which is, similar to a lot of these guys that go through subpar quarterback play but still produce. Unfortunately for Cortland Sutton, it's been difficult, for him to really produce. This last year was his first 1,000-yard plus season since 2019, and that just speaks to the issues that the Broncos were having at the quarterback position, right? And this is your guy. And maybe this is also why, like, a lot of people last year were really kind of starting to really understand the impact that Cortland Sutton has on the field for you guys. Like you said, he is your wide receiver one. When this guy's on the field, their best cornerback is on him. It's not on Mims. It's not on the rookie guy, the Bo Nix's Oregon teammate. It's Cortland Sutton. And what he did last year, 81 passes caught, career high, 1,081 yards, 8 touchdowns. And we already mentioned, like, we cannot forget the acrobatic catches that he makes that make primetime games with Denver like that much more enjoyable and that much more exciting. Like, we've watched games where it's clear with Russ, the couple of years with Russ where it was just probably not going to be a win, but man, when they would be down in the red zone and it was a play being called to Cortland Sutton in the end zone, you knew that he was going to do anything and everything to catch that ball to get his team that much closer. So honestly, deserving, very much so. Like you said, he's the number one. He's a clear-cut number one in Denver right. This is a guy right now. So I think with Bo Nix, another year of Bo Nix, another training camp, another offseason with Bo Nix, it's just going to be, that connection is just going to grow much bigger and much better for the 2025 season.
And I do have
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Okay. I did prepare this for you guys.
Get both feet. Sets up and spinning around.
There it is. That's the one we saw. What was it? Monday Night Football.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago, and they needed to win this game because they were at one point they had like 5. They were 1-5, and they won the previous 2 games.
Yeah,
and this was their 3rd straight win. They would go on to win this game, and without this play right here, I mean, that's just like, that's as good as it gets, man.
Yeah.
If that type of a play happens in a Super Bowl, it's considered up there with the David Tyree catch. So I'm super happy about this. Now we did have some questions as to, with all of the talent we've acquired, who are we going to be able to pay and who are we not going to be able to pay?
Yeah.
Because there's just quite a few guys right now that we have. Luckily, we paid Surtain last year. Zach Allen, who came here and then gave the most quarterback pressures, most quarterback hits of any guy. The guy's a star, and we paid him before anyone else found out. Smart, right?
Yep.
That's what the great GMs do. They don't wait like the fucking Dallas Cowboys until Micah Parsons is
Gets on his podcast.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what the hell they're doing. And then they went ahead and paid Nate Ferguson, right?
Yeah, they paid Ferguson. Yeah.
Yesterday,
Yep.
which we can talk about for a second. They
Mhm.
paid him for the next 4 years, I believe.
It was a
And
4-year deal. Yeah.
okay. What did you make, if anything, of the Cowboys deciding to pay Nate Ferguson before Micah Parsons?
I think they're just solidifying that offense right now for Dak. They got CeeDee Lamb, obviously. They brought in what was it? George Pickens, I believe, from the Steelers. And you got Ferguson there, tight end. So really, like, they got 3 weapons on offense for Dak. And when you look at what Jerry Jones failed to do last year, is that thing exactly. Ferguson was already a tight end that was top 10 probably tight end going into last season, if not throughout the year. They just never had a real wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 for Dak. Now you get you get 3 guys who are going to legitimately or can legitimately produce for the Cowboys. But Micah Parsons, when you talk about needs in the NFL, you got Dak, you got your quarterback, which, to some Cowboys fans, probably like, disappointment is going to be their QB of the future for the next, for the near future, at least. CeeDee Lamb, like bona fide wide receiver 1. You bring in George Pickens, hopes that he can actually be a wide receiver 2 for Dak, and then Ferguson. All right, you got those guys, but you need that guy on defense outside of your quarterback and your wide receiver 1. You need that guy on defense, and that guy on defense for the Cowboys is Micah Parsons. I don't know if they're just trying to get the offense right first and then look really, really hard at Micah Parsons, but to me, you pay Micah Parsons before you pay, because now it looks even worse for Jerry Jones that he paid Ferguson before he paid Micah Parsons. So it's just a bad look for the Cowboys, and just a series of bad looks for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and the reason that it looks bad to us is because it is. I mean, when you look at the Cowboys, whether you like Mike McCarthy or you think he's a shitty guy, a shitty coach, maybe you're a Bears fan, I don't know. If you just didn't like the guy, one thing is that he won about 12 games and scored the most points while he was the head coach, which is a pretty good spot to be at.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody thinks that the head coach that they hired, who's in the building now, is going to have a better season than Mike McCarthy had. Because as you're going through these guys, Nate Ferguson, they bring in what's from Pittsburgh, Pickens, and then of course CeeDee Lamb. I'm sitting here thinking, man, I feel like Mike McCarthy could do a lot of damage with that. I mean, Mike McCarthy had Brandon Cooks as the number 2. I think George Pickens is an upgrade over Brandon Cooks.
100%.
And yet Mike McCarthy's not there, and they got this new coach who is supposed to take over the team. And it's like, I could understand them parting ways with Mike McCarthy if Nick Saban wanted to come back into coaching or one of these high-profile guys. But their decision to put somebody in at head coach who's not some prolific guy to replace somebody who's been having a ton of success, firing him after not having success without his starting quarterback. Like, he gave you all of that. That was a large sample size. And then even when he lost Dak Prescott, he still found a way to go to freaking where did they go? They went to Washington and beat the Commanders. They like, he still had that team playing hard, but any other head coach that's well respected, whether it be McVay, Sean Payton, those guys lose a quarterback, they're not getting fired if the team stops winning games that year. It's just an understanding. Like, yeah, you lost a quarterback. I mean, how were you supposed to be able to win and make it to the playoffs without Dak Prescott? Same thing can be said for if the Rams lose Matthew Stafford I mean, it's ridiculous. So they fire him because of that, and then they replace him with somebody that nobody feels is going to have a better season than McCarthy had, and they still haven't paid Michael Parsons. The whole thing just always seems like a shit show, man. It's like there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just so reactionary. They're never like, when's the last time the Cowboys made a move? Like how I just said, Denver paid Zach Allen before the world found out who he was. When's the last time the Cowboys paid somebody and you were like, they're playing chess?
Never, dude. Never. It's like I said, it is just a series of terrible, terrible decisions by Jerry Jones. And like Micah Parsons is probably like, whatever, Jake Ferguson, get your money. You know, you're going to be an important part of this offense. But like, there's no pressure on Micah Parsons' part, but the rest of us, the rest of the NFL fans are like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? You're going to pay Jake Ferguson before you pay your captain on defense? Get out of here.
Do you feel like players can get, like, I'm trying to word this the right way. Do you feel like the wrong franchise can derail a player, or ultimately the player's responsible for his own demise? And the reason I ask is because Zeke was so damn good as a rookie. And he was so good year 2. And I remember the Cowboys like struggling to pay him as well. And then eventually they let him go. And now Zeke's like gone, like out of the league.
I think it's on a case-by-case basis, because when you look at Zeke, we've said it on this podcast before, every single year from his rookie year, it was like yard total was going down. Touchdown total was going down, if not steady or something like that. It wasn't a huge drop off really, but you could tell the decline was there almost every single year by year. In Zeke's case, I think it was Ezekiel Elliott's fault. I mean, the dude was a big guy. It was almost like Lacey was for the Packers. You know what I mean? Like, he was just a big dude. Like, he could bulldoze you, but like, that's not your 3 down back really. In other cases, I do think franchises are to blame for certain things. I mean, look at the Bears quarterback situation for the last 40 years. You know, like, it's been a revolving door quarterback. The franchise just cannot get the quarterback right because we can't get the coach right and we can't get the GM right. And so many moving parts that is just infuriating, right? So I think there's definitely a player that's at fault. And in some cases, there is definitely a franchise that is at fault for ruining, if not improving, a certain position or a certain player. So I do think it's on a case-by-case basis.
One of the things that organizations can do that help, and I don't know if the Cowboys do this, I just learned about this. So Sean Payton, he's created an environment so when it's April and teams report, they don't feel like they're coming to work, which is very, very important. If you want your star players to come to the facility and train with your staff, you have to make sure that they don't feel like they're coming to work. And he was like, if I even catch a coach like going over a play or you know, hey, let's go, you know, install this offense or something, he's like, fired on the spot. And they were like, where did that come from? And he was like, well, when I was coaching under Bill Parcells, I was that coach that was out there with our players, and I had them doing shit in April. And Bill came up to me and he said, if any of these guys get hurt, you're fucking fired. And Bill Parcells was a very cutthroat guy. Had a special relationship with the media. He knew that he knew how to give them what they wanted, but he also wasn't easy to pull information out of. And if I had one thing to say about that, it's just how important it is to not only create an environment for your players to want to come train it, but also to have those players bought in. Now, when Sean came here, we were the most injured team for the previous 2 years. And for the last 2 years, we've been the least injured team in the NFL. And there's a science behind it that Sean gets really into about like high impact workouts, like this much workload is good, resistance training on this day. Like we need you to be durable, but we shouldn't break you, but we have to expose you to some levels of contact. There is like a fine balance between it. Sean has it figured out. And now the players are seeing like, holy shit, it's 2 years in a row. And look how healthy, no major injuries, any of our star players. I'm going to train with the team. I'm not going to go off to Florida with my own guys. I actually want to be a part of what we have here. I think Sean recruited the best trainers in the world. And I believe that because the results are in. So I think when you talk about creating a culture for your players to thrive, it's those little details that separate the great franchises from the ones that just can't figure it out.
Yeah, and there's been some players, some former Bears players, like I'm talking about former, like back in like during the 2006 Super Bowl run, where they were saying the same thing. They're like, mini camp, training camp, like it's different now than it was for us. And the weird thing is, like, I wish it was more like when we had it, because we would actually have to hit. We would actually have to do these situations. And it seems like now it's just a lot of walkthroughs, this and that. Obviously, they're going to criticize it. And obviously, they're going to be criticized by the generation before them. But if you can get that good mix, like Sean apparently has over the last couple seasons, like that's just money, right there for your entire team. And like you said, like you want them to come to work. You want them to know that, hey, you're going to get hit and you're going to hit other people, but we're going to do it in a way that during the season or prior to the season, it doesn't feel like you just played a regular season game or something like that. So
yeah, because that's a big reason some of these coaches aren't showing up, because you got old timers like Vic Fangio that the Broncos were like, dude, we were sore as shit every night. Was like, and like there is a balance there, and definitely some of the older coaches don't really understand it, and that's why I tip my hat to Sean, because he's older. Like
he's one of those OGs. Yeah,
he's one of those OGs, and he's decided to be progressive in his way of thinking and not just be stuck in his ways. So that's why he's having the success. One team that's not having success, happy to report, the Raiders. The latest player to make headlines for the Raiders is Christian Wilkins, who the Raiders have released. This was a high-profile free agent who signed a 4-year, $110 million contract in 2024. If you're doing the math, that wasn't 4 years ago. So the move, which was reported just 4 days ago, was unexpected due to his status as one of the key defensive linemen in the NFL. And ESPN cited a playful incident where he was kissing a teammate on the head. And there was a dispute over a foot injury that factored in. And then basically the Raiders voided his remaining guarantees, and Wilkins filed grievances already with the NFLPA, arguing that the team mishandled his contract voidance. This is a very messy situation. The release sends a really strong message, though, from Pete Carroll and the new general manager, John Spytek, about accountability and roster flexibility. And this is an OG head coach thing. You talk about the AFC West and that division right now. I mean, you got to combine, 6 Super Bowls? You got 3 from Andy, right? 3 from Andy. And then you got 1 from Sean. You got 1 from Pete. And a national championship for Harbaugh.
Yeah, for good measure.
The Raiders have a real coach right now. And this is the same thing Sean did when he came in. And we had acquired, just like the Raiders, a big money guy. This was before Sean came here from the Dallas Cowboys. What was his name again? Dreads, big guy on the line, defensive end. and he came from the Cowboys. He was going to
Oh,
sign with the
man.
Cowboys, and then he decided he was not going to, and he ripped it up and signed with the Broncos.
I don't know, because that was a while ago, huh?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Oh, Randy Gregory.
Yeah, thank you.
Good shit, Nick. Good shit.
I knew it was it has a G. I wanted to say Gordon, but I knew that wasn't it. Randy Gregory. Sean did the same thing. He came in, Randy Gregory, an amazing, as far as just body, he was made for the position.
I was just picturing that body, that sweaty body.
Dude, the guy was jacked. I mean, I've seen him in real life. He's he's huge. And the thing is he was called out by a lot of players for being lazy and oh, I'm injured, I can't play. He didn't want it. He didn't have heart.
Yeah.
He was just not interested in football the way that you need to be to play at a high level in the league. And he would come in and make a couple plays. And more than not, he was just not even playing. And we were going over how much money we've given this dude.
Yeah.
And think about how bad it is when you have to say, let's eat the money. Let's just eat the money. And they go, well, why not just let him stay instead of eating the money? And it comes down to, because I need to send a message to my players.
Yeah.
That's what this is really about.
And the organization to a point too.
And the organization. I mean, it's we need people to know that I don't care where you were drafted or how much money you make. If you aren't going to do it the Raider way, the Bronco way, if you're not going to show up to work and be about business, we're going to make a business decision and cut your ass. And that stands for the Bo Nixes and also the 7th round draft picks. There's no one special. I didn't pick any of you. And that is exactly what happened here with the Raiders. Wilkins, after just one season, is completely gone. And they paid him, math-wise, $1 million a game.
Yeah. And that was not even a full season. It was 5 games. So it wasn't even that full year. Ginger's that guy's huge. I love that. Shout out to everybody watching us real quick too. Ginger, Nick, Richard on YouTube, and everybody who's watching us on X and on Twitch. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Last year, when they signed Christian Wilkins, me and you were like, holy shit, him and Max Crosby, the Raiders defensive line is going to be amazing. And then what happens is Christian Wilkins against the Broncos, in which he had a pretty damn good game, gets injured, fractures his foot. And from then on is pretty much all right, well, that's the season right there. It's 5 weeks later, and that's all Christian Wilkins are going to get. And the biggest thing here is the way, the reason he's getting cut is, yes, there was how you mentioned that incident with a teammate, which, if a teammate doesn't like something, just don't fucking do it. We're all grown men, right? If you don't like something, just don't do it to that specific person. But also, it was also the way in which he went about his foot surgery. He had a surgery. The timetable was the timetable. Apparently it didn't go the way that the Raiders and Wilkins they're talking. Sorry, did I cut off there?
You're back.
Okay, I'm back. All right, I was talking through burp, so I'm kind of glad that I cut off there. But now the whole first surgery, it did not go according to plan. The Raiders said, hey, we want you to do another surgery, reset your timetable, then you can, we can kind of go off from there. Christian Wilkins said, no, I'm going to do a rehab the way I want to rehab, which I don't know. To me, I feel like the player does have a say in that. But if you want that say, the organization and then, does this is what the Raiders did is they cut you. They got rid of your guarantees, this, and that. And obviously Christian Wilkins is going to file a grievance with the Players Association for the NFL. And then we'll see how it goes from there. But it is a very strange kind of situation that this is, because Christian Wilkins, again, goes through that whole thing with the player kissing him on the forehead or whatever it is. I don't know if they named who the player was, but then it's a whole issue with the surgery, which is not something we I don't know. I feel like I've never heard of this before where the timetable is a timetable and then something happens along the way in which it messes up the timetable entirely and then they blame the player. So this is why the Raiders decided to do this. Hey, we expect a sort of a standard in terms of how to go about an injury. Christian Wilkins, in their perspective, did not go about it the right way. And now he's suffering the consequences because he wanted to rehab instead of, do the extra surgery, which would reset a timetable. The whole thing is just odd because I don't think I've ever heard of anything like this happen. I've heard of people maybe not doing a surgery or rehabbing during the off season before, and the timetable being like, hey, we're going to be back by the beginning of the season, but never something like this. So I think this whole thing is very strange, but now it's a situation in which Christian Wilkins is like, dude, you gave me guaranteed money. What the fuck?
Right.
And he's a vested veteran, whatever that means, but both sides think they have an angle here, and it's going to be interesting to see who wins that argument, I guess, at the end of the day.
And moving on to the city that I am currently living in, Nashville, who, by the way, their new stadium's coming along really nice. I see it almost every day.
Nice.
It's cool. They're building it right next to the current stadium. So,
okay.
I keep taking pictures so I can put together like a time.
Like a timeline thing. Yeah.
Yeah, of it being built. So the Titans, ever since they traded AJ Brown, their franchise has gone into the shitter. They lost their head coach. They lost Derrick Henry. The great years that they were getting from Ryan Tannehill. Where's Ryan Tannehill?
I don't know. I'm gonna look that up right now.
How do you go from the AFC Championship to?
I think he did actually.
He can't even get on a team.
Is Ryan Tannehill retired? No, he is not retired, but he is currently a free agent. Yeah, he didn't play in 2024, so he has just been chilling.
I mean, it's amazing. I don't understand. Like the Bengals just signed Desmond Ridder as a backup. Wouldn't you want Tannehill over that? I mean,
you would think so.
You would think so. But they let AJ Brown go in the middle of the draft, and then they used the draft pick they acquired to sign Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks, yes, he was waived today by the Tennessee Titans, but he dealt with a lot of injuries. I mean, the injuries that he had, 2022 first round pick. All right. So he's had multiple years to get healthy. And he's had the turf toe, the LCL sprain, the ACL tear, and now this one, the straw that broke the camel's collarbone. And that's what happened. He broke his collarbone in practice, and the decision was to waive him. Brian Callahan made the call, and they're going to prioritize Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, and Van Jefferson. So this is interesting because Burks is only 25 years old, so he's going to draw interest from teams that need wide receiver depth. The athleticism. He ran a 4.5 with the 6'2" frame. But it's the injury history that's probably going to limit offers to prove it deals until he puts together a full healthy season. And I think for the Tennessee Titans, it's like sometimes you just got to take your loss. Like, yeah, we fucked up.
And this is like, I can understand when you are looking at it from the front office perspective. AJ Brown is a monster wide receiver. Now they were going to have to pay him. Instead, what did they do? Just like you had said, when we started this, they got rid of him in the draft, drafted Treylon Burks because they're like, hey, this guy seems like a freak. This guy seems like he could be our wide receiver one, and we'd have him on a rookie contract for 4 years. Ryan Tannehill is our quarterback, yada, yada, yada. We still got Derrick Henry, all that stuff. It did not work out that way whatsoever. And when you look at it from a fan perspective, You're like, why the hell would you get rid of AJ Brown? That was our best guy. And now look at him. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He has won a Super Bowl, and he is clearly much better off in the system in Philadelphia. While Treylon Burks, injury history has gotten a total over 3 years of 53 receptions, 699 yards, and 1 touchdown. Now, games started 17, total games played 27. How the fuck do you have 1 touchdown in 27 career games? Injuries obviously play a huge part, but my God, the absolute underperformance by Treylon Burks is almost incredible when you look at the stats of his 3 years with the Titans. Now, obviously, there is a lot of pressure on a rookie receiver coming into the NFL when you get rid of a guy like AJ Brown, and the front office is like, hey, you're our fucking guy. Like, you've got to do what AJ Brown did. There's a lot of pressure, but also those who get to the NFL aren't already or haven't already felt the sort of pressure to perform. If you're drafted, you're a guy who's coming to the NFL because people believe that you can be an NFL player, right? So he's been under pressure, and unfortunately injuries did hamper him a lot. But man, dude, it is just completely underwhelming what he did in the NFL. It's almost like sad, really, when you think about it. And to be a first round guy, to be that franchise wide receiver that the front office was hoping for, it just sucks to see. But at the same time, like, dude, what are you doing to get better? What are you doing to not get injured right during the season? What are you doing to be a better wide receiver or to prove that you belong in the league? Honestly, Treylon Burks probably didn't do that much. And that's, I don't know, man. It just doesn't, none of what he was probably doing in the offseason or during the season showed up on the stat sheets. And it's really sad. It's really sad to see for the Titans.
Yeah. Is there any place that you're thinking, like, right off the bat, he could end up at? Because I have a funny prediction. I think he's gonna I think he's gonna line up with AJ Brown.
You think he's going to the Eagles?
I think he's gonna go to the Eagles. I mean, you got Jahan Dotson, who I think is really good, but underperforming. Only 311 yards last year. He could compete for wide receiver 3 snaps behind Devontae Smith. And I think it could work. You got AJ Brown's mentorship. They kind of understand how, like, AJ Brown's not going to have any animosity towards him. He's winning Super Bowls now. He's like, dude, that was the best trade to ever happen for me.
Yeah.
And AJ Brown knows what it's like to go from the Titans to the Eagles. Like, that's exactly
he could tell him all about it.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, dude, like, this is what's similar. This is what's different.
Yeah.
This is how, Sirianni likes to, create the offense. I feel like Burks would be a super low risk addition, and it would also just be funny.
Yeah, and the shitty thing is, though, is like, because of his broken collarbone, he's probably not going to play the first 2 to 3 games of the season, if not more. But like you said, like, depth, why not bring a guy like that in who has been a wide receiver 1, who has caught passes, and Sutton, not in the stats department, but who was his quarterback? I think Ginger was saying Malik Willis, Will Levis, those have been his quarterbacks. And Ryan Tannehill, I think, towards the end of his tenure there, like, obviously the injuries, obviously the underwhelming performances by him, but also the quarterback. Like, we can kind of have we can kind of look at that and be like, all right, that did give a little bit of insight into why he's been underperforming in a sense. But yeah, man, I mean, if he goes to the Eagles, I guess that would be really, really funny. Like you said, 3rd, 4th option. I can see that. I can honestly see him going to like a team that is not really expected to do much. Like, I don't know, the Saints, the the Cardinals, the Giant. Well, maybe not the Giants, because they got some pretty good receivers.
The Saints,
The Saints,
Falcons.
maybe the Falcons too. Yeah, although the Falcons are like rich in offensive guys, they just don't know how to use them properly.
I feel like
New England
you're transitioning
not Nick. No,
to
Nick.
the NFC South predictions.
That's a good one. That is a good way to go about that.
Yeah, but for real, like wherever he does end up, it's going to be on a 1-year prove it deal.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes like somebody kicking you out is exactly what you need to be like, oh, no, I'm not going down like this. My career's not and he can go out there and maybe what he was supposed to be in Tennessee, he can be for somebody else, because not having the quarterback, it is a huge factor. Like Malik Willis, his first start, he had like 60 passing yards. It's not like there were other wide receivers that were doing good and Bird couldn't figure it out. I mean, it's a shit show when you don't have a quarterback. Really 100%. Hard to judge a wide receiver without a quarterback. So I think he could end up with Dallas as well. Brandon Cooks, going to New Orleans. That seems like a Jerry Jones thing to do. Like, oh, this guy was a high value pick that underperformed. We'll take him. Let's pay him right away.
And we're only going to have to give him $2 million a year. Sick. I'm down for that. Let's do it.
He could go to the Steelers. I mean,
Steelers too. They could use some wide receiver depth for sure.
And the Broncos were linked to Cortland Sutton going to the Steelers, so I know they're in the market. But
yeah.
Let's get into these predictions.
Let's do it. NFC South, baby.
NFC South predictions. You last year went right off the bat. You went Falcons.
Yep.
You were wrong.
Very wrong.
Very wrong. But the year before, you were wrong also, right?
I've been very wrong in the NFC South. Like the guys, like there's a ton of OGs, supporters in here, like Nick, like Jinja, like Richard. And if you're not fully aware, I tend to predict the NFC South at like the weirdest times and just the most random times. And I've been wrong for about 2 years in a row now. I went with the Saints first 2 years ago when they got Derek Carr.
You went with the Steelers that first year too.
I did go with the Steelers for the AFC North.
Over the Ravens and the Bengals.
And then last year, Falcons get a new quarterback, Kirk Cousins. I said, yep, Falcons are winning the division. And what happened? The Tampa Bay Bucks have won it for 5 years in a row now. So the NFC South is like what's the opposite of bread and butter? Stale bread and water, probably. I don't know. Like it's something like that where I'm just like fucking it up at every single corner. So we are going to talk about the NFC South, and where it's a twofer today. We're going to give you the NFC West after the NFC South. So let's start it off. I think you went first last time. So I think I'm going to go first this time.
Okay.
NFC South. The winner of the NFC South will be, no surprises here, it's going to be Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, baby. There's no doubt in my mind that they're going to repeat again for a sixth year. Although there are some things going on with the Bucks. Obviously, we last year we saw Godwin go down with an injury in a year where we're like, oh my God, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they're just going to be a ridiculous 1 and 2 wide receiver. Godwin unfortunately goes down early in the season, and as well, Tristan Wirfs will be, I think, not starting the season because of a knee surgery. And Tristan Wirfs has been one of the best left tackles in the NFL for quite some time now, for a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it is. He has been one of the best left tackles. So how much will that take? How much will that, be taken into consideration for other predictions? I would say a good amount, but at the end of the day, I think Tristan Wirfs comes back healthy. Godwin, even though he's still kind of nursing an injury, an ankle, a foot, whatever it was that the injury was last year. I still think they have more than enough, especially with Bucky Irving at running back now too. Like, I think they're going to have more than enough to win this division, because we'll get into the rest of my picks, but there's going to be a lot of issues within the division, in my opinion. So I've got the Bucks winning the NFC South. Kyle, what do you got?
Number one, I got the Carolina Panthers. I mean,
woo, no way.
I
No
do.
fucking way.
I do. And I don't know if it's
Wow.
going to be that close.
Mhm.
I think the Carolina Panthers
Wow.
are going to probably win this division by 2 or 3 games. The
Holy shit.
I know.
Holy shit.
I
And Nick,
can't
Nick,
believe I'm saying this.
Nick goes, Kyle really is Cam Newton today.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this for those of you that have been following the last couple of years. I've been really hard on Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, he looked terrible coming out his rookie year. And then they're moving all these pieces around. They're giving him a new head coach. Then he
Mhm.
goes into year 2. He's playing like crap. He gets benched. They bring someone else in. He's playing like crap.
Mhm.
But then Bryce Young came back.
Yeah.
And Bryce Young came back into the game, guys, and he was a completely different quarterback. And I'm not talking about like, this is not even like, there was no resemblance of the guy we saw before.
Yep.
Something clicked, something switched, and I can't forget about that. He played better in his last 5 games than maybe any quarterback in the NFL in the final 5 games of the season. He threw 10
Wow.
touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Yeah.
He was the
was
only
good.
quarterback in 2025 to throw 5 touchdowns in a game.
Mhm.
Bryce Young was slinging it. I mean, there was like nobody could have seen it coming, but Bryce Young was going off. And you look at them drafting T-Mac 8th overall, and the fact that Trevor Etienne is also going to fuel some optimism. They also have last year's first round draft pick. Who's the other wide receiver that they paired T-Mac with?
Oh my God. Let me look it up.
I had it in my notes.
Panthers
I
wide
don't know where I went.
receiver. Ted McMillan. Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay, so he was already able to have such a insane final couple games, and they decided to just load up and draft another star wide receiver in the first round and be like, let's just keep going. Let's keep it going. T-Mac, he has ridiculously good hands. He's going to be good away.
Xavier Legette. That's who you meant, right?
Yes. Xavier Legette. And then they have who else? You said
Adam Thielen, Jimmy Horn Jr. Right? Yeah.
Adam Thielen, who I think still has good ball left in him. Adam Thielen, and like this might be one of the better receiving corps in the NFL right now. And the only reason no one's talking about it is because the Panthers haven't started playing football yet. This is going to be on the radar pretty early in the season when the Panthers offense is scoring 30 points week 1 and week 2. This is going to be a really good offense. I think Bryce Young could pass for over 4,000 yards, over 22 touchdowns. I think that he could have one of those career-defining years. I think that the Bryce Young has a top 3 wide receiver core in the NFL. They have wide receivers with elite body control, catch radius out of this world, and these guys track balls like a GPS. You should watch some of their practice films and look at their receivers, especially T-Mac. There's plenty of videos out there of T-Mac in OTAs. Now, the one big question mark was their defense. And I get that. I get the defense, but I think sometimes you can just beat teams with firepower, like we saw Carolina doing late in the season against games like the one against the Saints, where I think it was like 45-41, and they were able to get. It was insane. I really feel that this Panther thing is kind of slipping through the cracks and people haven't really noticed. But the last thing I will say is over the last 9 weeks of the NFL season, Bryce Young, according to PFF, finished second in big time throw percentage. He was tied for second in big time throws. He was tied for second in deep passing grade, 20 plus yards. He was fourth in ADOT. He was sixth in overall passing grade. He was tied for sixth in passing grade under pressure. And he was seventh in offensive grade. And he was tied for fifth in drop percentage. So this final 9 weeks of the season, we need to be taking into context when we talk about the 2025 season coming up.
Yep.
And I feel that the Panthers are on the verge of something pretty special here. And they were the laughing stock after DJ Moore went to the Bears. And the Bears had Caleb Williams and they had Bryce Young. And it seemed like it was just a big joke. And the Panthers were on the heel of it. And I feel like that is all going to be washed away with a lot of winning this year for the Panthers.
Yeah, and I loved that Canales went to the Panthers. I thought it was a good move. Former Bucks offensive coordinator, he's moved up through the ranks and finally had coaching of the Panthers. Because what happened in the beginning? They started Bryce Young. Bryce Young was not doing shit. They bring in Andy Dalton, and then I believe Andy Dalton got hurt or he wasn't playing very well. One of the two. You bring back Bryce Young after working with Andy Dalton and Canales on whatever issues he was having. And then you have that second half of what Bryce Young did, which is what you mentioned all right there just now. So I don't think it's totally out of question for the Panthers to win the division. And as Ginger was saying, like, I have to look this up because we were talking about this a few months ago. It was like during the offseason, like fresh offseason stuff, that the Carolina Panthers, Ohio State, the schedule, and Jennifer Lopez are all connected. And I'm going to read this by Sports Illustrated here. Each time the Panthers have made a Super Bowl appearance in the past, 3 very specific things occurred before Carolina eventually got there. Those 3 things are Ohio State winning a national title during the previous campaign when the Panthers had a losing record, Carolina opening the following season with a game versus the Jaguars, and Jennifer Lopez filing for divorce. All 3 of those things have happened. Ohio State has won the national championship. They are going to open the 2025 season against the Jags, and Jennifer Lopez filed for divorce with Ben Affleck. Ginger, you might be onto something, and Kyle here might be onto something in terms of, oh my God, and Kyle's got the biggest Long Island iced tea I've ever seen.
I'm going to need that to get through this NFC South prediction episode. Because
hey, you and me both, brother. You
got to keep in mind that the Panthers, it's not like they're in the AFC West or like, oh, we're predicting them to win a division that 9-8 got it done in 2024.
Yeah.
So look, could the Panthers win 9 games? Yeah. Would that suffice? It could.
It probably could. Yeah.
This is a rebuild, like you said, under a new head coach, and also the favorable schedule. That's really what I feel like positions them for a leap. The final, the final 4 games of the, I just saw it. The final 4 games Bryce Young played, that he threw 10 touchdowns, 0 picks. They were all against teams that were non-playoffs. Here it is. Okay, so flashes of brilliance late in 2024, throwing 10 touchdowns, 0 turnovers in his final 3 games against non-playoff teams. Chiefs, Buccaneers, Cardinals. Wait, two of
what?
those are playoff teams.
Chiefs,
Okay.
Buccaneers, Cardinals?
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
what are you talking about? Non-playoff teams. Regardless,
Mhm.
if those were the final 3 games, I was going to make a point that they have a very easy schedule, so they may play a lot of non-playoff teams. But if those were the final 3 opponents, which Chiefs, Panthers, it actually rings a bell. I'm pretty sure the Panthers almost won the Chiefs somehow won in overtime. Do you remember that? Because I do. It was like,
Because it was by a field goal, wasn't it? Or did the Chiefs score a touchdown?
I think it was a field goal in overtime. No. I think it was maybe a touchdown. Panthers, Chiefs. It was 30-27, November 24th. Mahomes and Chiefs win at the buzzer again.
Oh, wow.
It didn't go into overtime. It was their final drive.
Oh, gotcha.
And they kicked a field goal. It was tied 27-27,
Mhm.
and they were able to make a 31-yard field goal as time ran out. It was the final play of the game. So, like, the Panthers took a team that went to the Super Bowl down to the wire. They outdueled Mahomes or Baker Mayfield, and that's really who you have winning this division. So I really like where this Panthers team's at right now. The real question is, can their defense get better? Can the defense take that next step? Because the reason you could feel that the defense is turning the corner, last year they gave up 31.4 points per game, worse than the NFL. But they got Derek Brown returning from a 2024 knee injury. J.C. Horn is healthy after playing only 28 games from 2021 to 2023. They got a new edge rusher in Nick Scorton and Princely Umanamielen, who were both drafted in 2025. That's going to add some pass rush juice. They both combined for 18.5 sacks in college. And a top 15 defense is what I think could make the difference. I'm not saying we need the Panthers to have a top 10 D. I'm just saying, can they go from giving up the league's most amount of points to around 15? Because I said the very same thing about the Lions in Dan Campbell's first season when they kept losing in those weird ways. And I was like, dude, the Lions are giving up the most points in the NFL. If they can just get to 15, the Lions would be winning these games. And they ended up going to 15 mid-season, and the Lions won all of their games. And I was like, yeah, I know. The offense has been there. That's kind of what I can see for the Panthers this year.
Yeah, and
go to 15.
I actually have the Panthers finishing second too. Like, I've got the Bucks winning it. I've got the Panthers in second, followed by the Falcons and the Saints. Now, the Panthers, pretty much everything you've said, like their wide receiving core, especially bringing in Ted McMillan already with Xavier Legette, like that could be a very, very good 1 and 2, however way you want to spin it. Also, Brandon Christian Wilkins, that's good. I love that.
What's up, Brandon? He's got tickets to go see the NFC South champions,
the eventual Super Bowl appearing NFC South champion Carolina Panthers. So
we said they'd win 9 games.
They're gonna win the division 9-8. That's gonna be so funny. But yeah, again, they had such a terrible defense last year. So them and the Bengals were just like right there in terms of defense. Like, they are going to give up a ton of points. I don't know if they have an immediate fix of defense, like it's going to do a complete 180, but I definitely think based off of Bryce Young's performance late last year, like they can be in those games, even though their defense is giving up a shit ton of points, just like the Bengals were last year. Now, I'm not saying Bryce Young is Joe Burrow this year, but he's coupled with Canales score a lot of points. I don't know if necessarily it's going to be all on Bryce Young, but he's the quarterback, so it does have to be on him. But again, they can score points if that offense works the way Canales wants it to work. Now, Falcons third. I've got Falcons third because while we saw what Penix was able to do in a very limited amount of time last year as a quarterback, I like what I saw. I just don't know if it's necessarily going to be like, oh, Penix is, again, this guy who's coming into his second year in the NFL after only starting a handful of games last, going to absolutely kill it like some of these quarterbacks we see coming in, right? Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, hopefully Caleb Williams, Drake May. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be lighting up the stat sheet either, but I think this is going to be a very, very good season where they build on Penix, right? Like, and they've got, like I said earlier, they've got a plethora of offensive guys. They got a plethora of guys that can do stuff in an offense. It's just that they have a defensive coach, you know, and it seems like that may kind of hinder their ability to put up a lot of high scoring games and a lot of great games. But they were definitely, they're definitely like right there in it. I think the NFC South for the last few years has been one of those divisions where it's like, well, if Brady's not on the Bucks, which he hasn't been for 3 years, it's one of those divisions where you're like, it could be the Bucks, it could be the Falcons, and now you throw the Panthers in the mix, and it could be one of those three. I think those wins are going to be very, very close. Like the Bucks are going to win it by a game. The Panthers are going to be ahead of the Falcons by a game. And then the Saints fourth because of obvious reasons. We don't know how any of their quarterbacks are going to play. Kellen Moore, first-year head coach, pretty damn good offensive play caller for the Eagles last year. They won a goddamn Super Bowl. So yeah, there's a lot of high hopes for the Saints, but 1, salary cap, 2, the age of a lot of their defense, 3 is the quarterback, whoever it is, whether it's Slow, whether it's Rattler, whoever it is, because those are the top 2 guys right now after Derek Carr retired. Who can that quarterback create an NFL type of offense through the air? And if not, if Slow or Slock, whatever the fuck his name is, or Rattler can't do it, Kellen Moore can be the most brilliant offensive coordinator and head coach of all time. But if you have a quarterback who can't make those NFL type of throws or run an NFL type of defense, you're shit out of luck. They're finishing in 4th, and I have no doubts about that. And it might bite me in the ass, but I have 0 doubts today about the Saints finishing 4th.
Yeah, and I got the Bucks coming in second. A couple things. One of their rookies, they just had to place on the non-football injury list due to being 450 pounds. I don't know if you heard about this. He's like so big.
Tackle or what?
Yeah, D lineman.
Oh my God!
They had to put him on the non-football injury list because he's so big. We're talking about Desmond Watson, 6'6", 450 pounds. It carries differently when you're 6'6", so there is upside at defensive tackle, and you know, if he could get his weight down to 400 at least, he could be good at stopping the run. But
that's a large human. My God.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know, like, what's the heaviest NFL player ever? Wasn't it that backup quarterback for the Cowboys? He died though.
Heaviest
Do you remember him?
NFL player ever. I don't remember that.
Dude, I'm gonna blow your mind right now.
Yeah, like you said, Desmond Watson, 464 pounds.
They called him Hefty Lefty. I'm about to blow your mind, dude. I'm about to blow your fucking mind.
Oh my God, that's insane. Top 10 heaviest NFL players of all time. Jordan Mailata. Okay, sure. I want to know who number 1 is. Aaron Gibson, offensive lineman for the Bears. 410 pounds. No, Desmond is taking the cake right now.
Oh shit. My bad. He was actually I was wrong. He was a giant, actually. And here we go. Now keep in mind, this is a quarterback.
What was his
he
name?
runs into
Hefty
is the
lefty.
backup quarterback,
Oh, that's right. For the
aka
Giants.
Hefty Lefty. By the way,
Yeah,
this dude is literally the Jackie Moon of indoor football.
he
All it's
did
fun to
pass
say.
away
Jared Lorenzen played college ball at the
last year,
University of
2 years ago.
He was actually the predecessor to the
Actually, I
former
think it was
number
like
one
5
overall
years
pick,
ago.
Tim Couch. The Hefty Lefty's freshman year, he
This
weighed
is
in
Jared
him
at
at
308 pounds
308
before the
pounds
season,
in
and the coach
college.
wouldn't allow him to play
Holy
until he was under
shit!
268
Not-
pounds. He eventually slimmed down.
Not terrible, right? He's in college, but then here he comes into the NFL and QB sneak on 3rd and 1, second career play, QB sneak on 3rd and 1. So he was just coming in for those 1 yard scenarios.
He can move though. That's the crazy part, is that he can move those legs. Like,
He
wow.
moves for a big guy. Look at him coming downfield.
Holy shit.
Block 2 guys. Look at him. Look at him. Look
That
at
is
that. That's a
insanity.
quarterback. Get some.
That is insanity.
This is a big dude. And then let's see him, because he only gets bigger as his career goes on. This is him down the road here.
Oh yeah.
Colts at 303 pounds now.
Wow.
And then here he is off the field. He doesn't look that big, right? I mean,
the River Monsters. Yeah, he was huge there.
And then right there with the Giants towards the end of his career, and then that's him catching a football. Later,
that's in slow motion. That had to be in slow motion.
It had to be. And I don't think our game will ever see that again.
They better not, because that's a big red flag for any NFL player. Nick said he ate the 3rd string quarterback.
He's a big guy. But okay, back to the Bucs. So
yeah.
The reason that I don't have them winning the division is easy. Liam Cohen is gone. That's where it comes for me. Okay. Now, a lot of people are thinking like, yeah, but Baker Mayfield's so good, like he can kind of overcome that. Well, we saw Baker Mayfield not overcome that. And this isn't about Baker Mayfield, but this is about any quarterback who doesn't have a good situation. Baker Mayfield in Cleveland, he was working out, then the coaching changed, and then it wasn't working out, and then he went to Tennessee. Yeah. No, not Tennessee. Where did Baker go? LA. Carolina.
Oh, Carolina. Yeah, with Sam Darnold.
And Carolina was a shit, hole as well.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden he goes to LA, and Liam Cohen and frickin' Sean McVay are coaching him. And he's like, oh, I'm good at football again. And then he comes to Tampa Bay, plays with a really good coordinator, loses that coordinator to a head coaching job.
Yeah.
Because of how good he turned Baker around. And then Liam Cohen comes in and has an amazing season with Baker last year. But now we really need to understand that both of those guys are gone. And Baker might be back to a situation that he was kind of in a little bit better than, Carolina, because he's still got Mike Evans and he still has Chris Godwin, and Bucky Irving is an amazing running back, and it's going to help out a ton. But I don't know how sold I am on this offensive coordinator that they've brought in. He's unproven, to say the least, and it's a change, and change isn't easy. I mean, I don't care if you're the Philadelphia Eagles. You can go to the Super Bowl, lose your 2 coordinators, and be one and done in the playoffs with only winning 9 games the year after. And that's why they had to fire those coaches and make changes on both sides of the ball. And they did get back to the playoffs, but it's not just a guarantee that every offensive coordinator you hire is going to hit. I feel like the Bucs are 2-0 on their last 2, so they're due for a bad one. And I think that the new OC, Josh Gizzard, I don't know much about him, to be honest, but just statistically, It's time for them to miss on an offensive coordinator. They've hit the last two out of the park, and then their secondary, of course, makes them vulnerable. Like I said, Young showed he can outduel Tampa in that game where they played in last year, where it was like 40 something to 40 something, and the Panthers won. But I think Tampa Bay's defense is vulnerable in the secondary, and they had to win a lot of games with shooting out with Baker Mayfield. And I don't think people understand how good of a coordinator Liam Cohen is. They will when the Bucs are struggling and the Jags are winning. But right now, I got to say I'm putting Tampa at number 2. And the reason they're not lower is because I do believe in this roster. And I do think that there's a chance Baker Mayfield and Josh Gizzard can kind of just get back to where they were and not miss a beat. It's possible. But for that reason, I'm more confident in the Panthers. And then at number 3, I have Atlanta. And I have 1, 2, and 3, or I'll say 2 and 3 I'm going to have as a toss-up. I think Atlanta could very well finish second or first. Atlanta, with Penix in the game, looked good. I mean, Michael Penix, you can kind of just watch a quarterback and feel eyeball test. Like, is he ready? I was very high on Bo Nix because from his first preseason game I was like, this guy's got it. I'm telling you, I've watched all of these quarterbacks, 12 of them in the last 5 years. None of them look like that.
Yeah.
So when you see it, you see it. And for Michael Penix, I didn't necessarily see it like that, but I saw enough to say that this guy should be playing in the NFL, and this guy does deserve a shot. He looked comfortable. When he came in for Kirk Cousins, he looked comfortable.
Yeah.
He looked like he was going through progressions. He looked like he was moving in the pocket smoothly. He was protecting the football. He was making good passes, and he was making great decisions. I liked everything I saw from Penix. I'm still waiting for him to get rolling. It might be a couple of games before he really is like, this is my team. I understand the playbook completely, but I expect Penix with a full offseason of being the QB1 to go out there and give one of the more talented rosters in the NFL. I mean, for quite a while, we've been talking about how good Atlanta is. They need somebody to elevate those guys and start winning. And if Atlanta can do that, and Penix can come out there and be that guy for Atlanta could win 10 games. I mean, it's like they could totally do it, but I need to see it first. I got Atlanta third. And then the Saints, not a surprise. The Saints aren't going to be good this year.
No.
We know it. You know it. Your mom knows it. Everyone knows it. People that don't follow football know it. New Orleans is probably going to end up drafting Arch Manning, and Nick Saban will be the head coach. That's my prediction.
Nick Saban?
Nick Saban will come out of retirement to coach Arch Manning in New Orleans. We know that Nick Saban and the Mannings have a crazy close relationship.
Okay.
They are tied together. And also, Peyton Manning's father, Archie Manning, played for the Saints. So it feels like a divine connection. There's also, he owns a house there. He coached in the state. I just feel like it's going to happen. And until then, though, the Saints are going to win 3 games every year. Whether that's next year or the year after, when he declares for the draft.
Kyle's like, until they get Saban and Arch Manning, they're winning 3 games. They're winning single-digit games.
They're a 3-14 team.
Yeah, I like the Saints for the next, for the foreseeable future.
Sean Payton did him dirty.
I honestly, like, I don't even think it was Sean Payton. I think it was the front office. The front office has not made any real good moves in years. Like, honestly, since similar to the Steelers, since Drew Brees, since Roethlisberger, they just cannot figure out the quarterback position. They just can't. There's something about it, right? Like, for those, after a decade plus of having your QB1, They just have not been able to figure it out. So I think they're kind of in the same boat. Now,
KC in the chat.
KC in the chat. Now, I like that take, though, about Nick Saban coming out of retirement to coach Arch Manning and the Saints. That would be cinema.
Well,
that would be hotness.
Nick
right
said
there.
I'm tweaking for this take. Let me just tell you why. They just asked Nick Saban last week if he was going to come out of retirement, if he's interested in an NFL job. And he said, not right now. Okay, so Rick, if I asked you if you were going to get a divorce and Natalie was listening, let me ask you a question. Would I'm happy right now be acceptable?
That's not an acceptable answer.
That's not an acceptable answer.
That's planning for something bad to happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Nick Saban was that committed to his retirement, he would have said, no, I'm not coming out of retirement.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not interested in anything right now, but if the right situation were to open up, I would be interested.
I would consider it.
Nick Saban, it's not a secret that he failed in the NFL. He's the greatest college coach of all time, but we will always have that little asterisk, bad head coach in the NFL right there. There are guys like Jim Harbaugh who have success in both, and Nick Saban wasn't that guy. I don't think he wants to go down like that. Bill Belichick, dude won 6 Super Bowls and still decided to go to North Carolina.
I
want to do something different.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just, you want to retire and then you can only be on the island sipping a cocktail for 2 weeks until you're like, all right, I guess I don't really just want to like die like this. Like I'm ready to just like do something with my life. When you have nothing challenging you, you need something to wake you up. To retire is to expire. Nobody wants to expire. Everybody wants a reason to live. And the man in the mirror is the person they're chasing. And Nick Saban, I think he wants to go to the NFL and succeed.
And I totally can see that, because there's been more than enough time between when Nick Saban was in the NFL to when now, where it's like, it's almost one of those things where you just kind of forget about it, where you're just like, what happened in the early 2000s, late 90s, whatever it was, does not mean that he is going to be that bad this year or whenever he does decide, right? And just like KC, Saban, if it's Archie's grandson, I'll give it a shot. I'm happy now, but if the right situation comes along, I mean, I'm saying the money talks too.
Right.
I don't know how happy
New
his
Orleans
family will be, or even New Orleans, like bringing in a college coach, who knows how it's going to go, but it's a possibility.
Let me just say this. If you were a Saints fan and Arch Manning was drafted and Nick Saban was the head coach, as a fan, you're pumped.
I'm pumped.
Like, you're not going to be like, dude, he's not a good head coach. We saw this already. Like, maybe other NFL fan teams will like do that, but as a fan, if that happened to your team, you would fully buy into that experience. It's an experiment, and you would be bought into it, and it would fill the stadium.
And it would, because what did we see with the Jags? We saw Trevor Lawrence, right? Like this awesome prospect coming out of college, out of Clemson, going to the Jags, and then they bring on what's his name, the Florida Gators coach,
Stinky Finger,
old coach Urban Stinky Finger Meyer, and then it was just the worst decision of all time. But these guys are two different people. Nick Saban and Stinky Fingers are two different people, obviously. Like Nick Saban, you can totally sell, like you're saying, to a fan base. If you bring back Urban Meyer, nobody wants him. He's like blacklisted from the NFL at this point with what he did in Jacksonville. So I totally get that. And again, it is like, at the end of the day, I mean, if Nick Saban is like, yo, you're going to pay me $10 million to coach Arch Manning and the Saints, when I already have like a house down there, I've already got connections. this, that. Yeah, I'll do it. I will absolutely do it, So I can see that happening in the future. And if Kellen Moore, especially if Kellen Moore does not work out as a head coach, like that is also one of the bigger reasons why I'm putting the Saints there at the bottom, because it's a first-year head coach. And while he's bounced around teams, he won a Super Bowl last year for his offensive coordinator. Like what he did as an offensive coordinator, that's awesome. But prior to that, you know what I mean? Like Ben Johnson has been the offensive coordinator, the best offensive coordinator in the NFL for the last 3 seasons. He's been the best for the last 3 seasons. So easily. It's easily been something Payne you build up.
And Andy Reid.
Andy Reid's been good. Sean Payne's been good. Canales was good the 1 year. Like you can, like Sean McVay, right?
Canales isn't really on that tier yet.
He's not on that tier yet. Yeah, but like they hired him as a coach for a reason too. And he and Kellen Moore, maybe one of those 1 year offensive coordinator guys, go on to be a head coach and kill it. Like Canales, we saw last year.
You know who's going to be a hot head coach named next year?
Who?
Cliff Kingsbury.
You
take,
especially if he continues the success.
You take the Commanders to back-to-back NFC championships, averaging 28.5 points a game.
Yeah,
you're going to be a head coach candidate. It 100%. Didn't work out in Arizona, but you can't have that kind of success and not get another shot. That's just, I mean, even Josh McDaniels got a second shot. And it's all about what you do with the second chance. You only get 2, unless you're like Dan Quinn. Like if Dan Quinn got fired the way Mike McCarthy did with the Cowboys,
he might have another shot.
He would get another shot because of what he did in year 1 with the Commanders alone.
Yeah, and I mean, I was gonna say it's similar to like Dennis Allen now for the Bears defense coordinator. Like he had a shot with the Raiders. He had his shot with the Saints, and those were really bad.
Everybody's been a Raiders head coach. That's like the NFL trial. It's like, we don't know if you're ready. Can you go down to Vegas for a season? Yeah, we didn't think so.
Pierce is like, guys, I was the Raiders head coach. Give me another shot.
I liked Pierce. I thought he deserved 1 year to do it, but it just shows you how hard the job really is.
100%.
It requires more than heart.
100%.
It really does. I mean, like that's having like a Sean Payton or Andy Reid that's like, I know exactly how this goes, the in and outs, like how to treat the players, what to give them, how to incentivize them, how to get them to show up. Like to really be a player's coach, it takes years, and it's not as simple as just like right here. It's all right here. You know what I mean? Like we saw that when the Colts hired, who's the offensive lineman that they brought in?
And
everybody was like
Saturday or
Jeff Saturday.
Yeah.
It was like Jeff Saturday came in and he was like, look, like, of course his heart was in the right place. He's a Hall of Famer from that city. Like he wanted it more than anybody, but like it's more than that. You can't just win alone off of heart. You got to really know what you're doing. And Josh McDaniels is proof that you can be a great coordinator and just suck as a head coach.
Yep.
He's done it twice now. He's totally just destroyed both franchises. Everywhere he goes, he gets rid of the franchise quarterback, Jay Cutler, Derek Carr, and like
and just gets rid of them.
He just gets rid of them, and then
he's like, no thanks,
no replacement plan.
Yeah, like zero plan B.
No plan B. We're just gonna go with Kyle Orton now. Thanks, Bears. Jay Cutler for Kyle Orton. Who signed this?
Who wrote off on this? All right. So in conclusion, NFC South predictions for myself. I am going Bucks winning the division, followed by the Panthers, then the Falcons, then the Saints. Kyle is going Panthers winning the division, followed by the Bucks, the Falcons, and the Saints. So Kyle and I agreed on 50% of the division. Now, going over to the poll that we set up prior to this live stream, we've actually got a tie, Kyle.
Ooh.
The only votes were to the Bucks and to the Falcons. So there's a 50-50 split on the Bucks and Falcons winning the NFC South, according to the voters on our poll here at the Only Football Podcast. So the voters have spoken. It's either the Bucks or the Falcons. Kyle and I are going either Bucks or Panthers. I'm going Bucks. He's going Panthers. That's who we think is going to win the NFC South.
And we'll do the NFC West a little bit quicker.
Yeah, we'll do it a little bit quicker. Let's get it with the NFC West.
I think this is the only week that we're doing two, right?
That is correct. Yes, because we wanted to do all the divisions but right before the season started. So you are going to get NFC North and AFC West the last 2 weeks prior to the season starting. But this is the only week we're doing two divisions because we just try to squeeze them in before the season starts, which is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, baby. 5 more weeks till the season starts. But yes, this is the only time we're going to do two divisions in one show. So let's move on to the NFC West, Kyle. I went first with the NFC South. I'll give it to you for the NFC West.
Well, the NFC West, as boring as some people might think, I think is shaping up to be one of the most contested divisions.
Yep.
You got the Rams, the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
All reasonably, you could argue, winning the division. Yeah. Every single one of those teams, you could make an argument. The Rams are coming off a 10-7 division title. They're going to be the slight favorites because of the continuity, not any change really there. The 49ers, they're looking to rebound. Brock Purdy is paid. Can he take his team with some of the star talent going away to the promised land? And then the Cardinals. The Cardinals, they're in upward trajectory. It's just how much further can they go up? And then the Seahawks, they still have the rookie head coach from last year going into his second year, Mike McDonald. They got rid of Geno Smith, brought in Sam. What's his name again?
Darnold,
thank you.
We don't do names here.
And Cooper Kupp. They brought Cooper Kupp over from the Rams, staying in the division. Those are just some of the big things I wanted to give you in case you were sleeping under a rock all offseason. The NFC West depth, in my opinion, means multiple teams could probably win 10 games in this division, which is going to impact seeding and Super Bowl odds. You got a mix of quarterbacks, talent, coaching changes. I'm going to just simplify it, and I got Rams number 1. The Rams are, I think, and this is going to sound crazy, I think I'm going to go maybe the Rams to the Super Bowl this year.
Shit. NFC Representative Rams to the Super Bowl. You heard it here first, folks. Kyle is going with Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams to the Super Bowl.
I think so. And you got Puka Nacua. You said Cooper Kupp on accident.
No, I said Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and Matthew Stafford.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think Puka Nacua has been the number 1 for quite some time. I think Devontae Adams is going to be an upgrade over Cooper Kupp.
Oh, okay.
I do. I mean, like Devontae Adams is awesome. Like Bears fans know that Devontae Adams replacing Cooper Kupp.
You.
You're pairing him with a healthy Puka Nacua, fully healthy.
Yeah.
You got Sean McVay's coaching. You got a top 5 net yardage team. And that just means they put up a ton of yards every game. The defensive line, anchored by Byron Young, Kobe Turner, is stout. And my favorite, Brendan Fisk and Jared Verse, coming both out of Florida State. Jared Verse last year was, I'm telling you right now, Jared Verse is my favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year this year. As a second-year guy.
I like it.
He said that he feels way better than he did last year. you got to keep in mind, this guy had like 14 sacks last year as a rookie.
Yeah, he was a monster.
He's like, I am way ahead. He's like, I've learned things. I'm like honed in on my craft. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I should have done this here. Like I've really like, if you listen to him talk, he feels like he's way ahead of where he was last year. That is terrifying for other teams because he was really good last year. And if he was in his 5th year and talking like this, it wouldn't be as meaningful. But the fact that he's a rookie last year, I believe that he is better than he was last year, which is
Okay.
crazy when you consider how good he was last year. So I think the Rams are going to win this division because of their defense. And I think this defense is one of the more underrated defenses in the NFL right now. I think they're going to be the best team at getting after the quarterback besides the Broncos. I think that offensively, Matthew Stafford is going to have a great year with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. And Matt, you got to remind yourself, McVay is better than all the coaches in this division, even Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
He's got
It's huge,
a Super Bowl. He's got a Super Bowl ring. No one does. The Rams in Matthew Stafford, which I think he'll win a Super Bowl potentially and retire. I feel like I think the Rams are going to be great this year. I think that they're going to win 12 games, and I think they're going to win the division.
Like it. I like it. All right. My NFC West division winner is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. This year, the Seattle...
Homer!
And yes, I live in Washington State, so there is a little bit of bias. I will not lie about that. What I like about the Seahawks, 9th fewest points allowed last year with their defense. Mike McDonald is their defensive head coach. I know compared to Sean McVay, it is just like, it's like apples and oranges when you're comparing these two head coaches. I totally get that.
Apples and tuna sandwich.
Apple. That is so out of the way. Yep, you're right. But what I will say, bias aside, they bring in Sam Darnold, get rid of Geno Smith. Now, I've talked to some Seahawks fans. They liked Geno Smith. They really did like Geno Smith, and almost to a point where they would have preferred him over Sam Darnold. Now, I know Sam Darnold has his issues, and we saw that very late last season and into the postseason last year with the Vikings. Sam Darnold's issues is just like big games somehow, some way. Sam Darnold's not built for those big games, that pressure. Now, what I will say, Sam Darnold had a hell of a year last year. Is he going to have those kind of bad games in probably big spots? Probably. Yeah, it's Sam Darnold. It is what it is. But I think during the season, I think it's going to be more than good enough to win the division with the Seahawks. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba as your wide receiver 1. They brought in Cooper Kupp, a solid wide receiver 2, into their somewhat younger defense in terms of like their wide receiver core and depth. Their defense already, again, is like one of the better defenses in that division. When you talk about the Rams, they've got a younger defense. When we talk about the 49ers, they've had a lot of trades, free agency, people leave the 49ers during this offseason. And the Cardinals, while they've added some people on defense, I don't know if it really stacks up to the Seahawks defense in terms of how good they're going to be. For that reason, for those pieces that they've brought in, again, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp. They got Kenneth Walker. Yeah, he's a walking injury waiting to happen. But I think even with that being said, I still think they can do that with I believe they still have Charbonnet, if I'm not mistaken. I'll take a look into that. Okay.
Charbonnet out of UCLA.
Yeah, so they've got some guys on the offense. They bring in Sam Darnold. Yeah, and Kenneth Walker as well. Again, he's kind of a walking injury waiting to happen, but I do like Sam Darnold with the Seahawks. They don't really have an offensive line, necessarily speaking, like one of the top ones. And I think maybe in the long run during the season, it is going to hurt them. But I think
their O-line's a mess. I'll just put that out there.
Yeah, and we saw that too with Geno Smith. That may be the absolute killer of the Seahawks team in 2025. Same as like the Bears last season. It was like the offensive line is just a mess. It's not even like worth considering them to win it. It may be that, but I still think the Seahawks, with everything else, with the defense, the way they played, with Mike McDonald as their defensive head coach, I think they're going to win the division. Yes, there's a little bit of bias, but I think they've taken a lot of steps in order to be very, very contentious in this division. I'm taking the Seahawks to win the NFC West. Kyle, what do you think?
Specifically for the Seahawks, I'll do two things at once. So I'll give you my fourth.
Okay.
And it's the Seahawks.
Wow.
That
Fourth?
You asked what I thought. So I thought it would
Damn.
make sense to go ahead and knock one of mine out while I tell you.
That's fair.
So, I mean, the Seahawks, look, 10-7 season 2024. They missed the playoffs because of tiebreakers. But we can't even look at last year, besides the fact that Mike McDonald's going to be there and the defense is going to be good. Like you said, what was it? 10th in points allowed per game.
Ninth overall. Yeah. Ninth
overall. So the defense is going to be good. Maybe not top 10, maybe top 10 in points allowed, but worse than that in yards allowed. The Sam Darnold as, the new quarterback being introduced into the system, I think it brings a lot more uncertainty than people think. Like, we have one good year from Sam Darnold, and this is very reminiscent for me as when the Vikings had a really good season with Case Keenum, and the Broncos paid Case Keenum a bunch of money to come be our franchise quarterback after the Minneapolis Miracle. And it didn't work out because he wasn't in Minnesota anymore, because he didn't have Stephon Diggs anymore. There's a lot of reasons that you can't just plug and play a quarterback that's not Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. You can't just expect it to work because it worked with one of the NFL's greatest, Kevin O'Connell, greatest play callers in the NFL. And you pair that with this offensive line that I have a huge issue with. This is major uncertainty. The offensive line remains a mess. 4.8% sack rate, 27th in the NFL last year. Probably the Bears and a couple other teams were the only ones worse than that. I remember live streaming games with you, and like you said, Gino was on his ass the whole game, got hurt, and came back into the game hurt. Sam Darnold is in for a rude awakening because, yes, he did capitalize on his value, but now he is going from having a top 10 offensive line last year with one of the greatest offensive play callers the game has to a defensive-minded coach with a terrible O-line, with a running back that can't stay healthy in Kenneth Walker. Zach Charbonnet is good, but he's not great. He's not Saquon Barkley or one of these other guys. They lose DK Metcalf to the Steelers, which was one of the bright spots on the offense. Like, at least they have DK. Can't even say that anymore. I feel like Seattle finishes last, but only at 8-9. I don't think that they finish
close.
Yeah, I don't think that they're gonna lose 13 games or anything like that. I just think Sam Darnold's going to struggle because of the offensive line, and I think this is just going to be kind of boring football, like the Bears Seahawks 0-3 game last year.
6-3. That was so embarrassing.
6-3. Like, it's going to be some boring football, and Sam Darnold is going to realize that he was in a really good situation with Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson and the other wide receiver out of USC that they have over there in Minnesota. The what is his name?
JJ McCarthy?
No, the wide receiver 2 in Minnesota.
Oh, Addison.
Jordan Addison. I mean, he's going from that to TJ Hawkinson. I could go on and on to a less favorable situation. So, like this division, and I started with this, it is very contested. I mean, I
Mhm.
got the Rams winning the division at 12 games. I got the last place team being only 4 games behind, maybe 3 games behind. I will say I think their floor for the Seahawks is about 6. I
Okay.
think they have a 6-11 floor. That's not terrible, but I think finishing last, they end up missing the playoffs. And
Mhm.
I think their plus 500 odds reflect their long shot status. But I'll give you my number 2, and it's going to be the 49ers. Um, we got to keep in mind they were 6-11 last year, so this isn't like a layup.
Mhm.
They were injured mostly. All of their stars were out.
Yeah.
Now they do get the return of a healthy Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Nick
Mhm.
Bosa,
Mhm.
Ricky Pearsall, who
Mhm.
got shot in the offseason last year. He's going to be back. So I think there's a reason to be optimistic.
Mhm.
The 49ers right now have a 36% chance to win the division for betting odds. I think if you wanted to place that bet, I think it's a good bet.
Mhm.
Brock Purdy's shown enough that he's going to be a good quarterback. And then you have the return of Robert Saleh, who was a great defensive coordinator. That's why he got the head coaching job. But ultimately, now he returns back to the place that he thrived at, so
Mhm.
much so that he got a new job. But they lose Hufanga,
Mhm.
Talona Hufanga to Denver, and they lose Dre Greenlaw as well. And that, Debo Samuel, they've just lost a lot of pieces.
Yeah.
I get thinking like Robert Saleh and those guys that they got are enough.
Mhm.
I just feel like the Rams are a little bit better as far as what they have right now. No
Mhm.
change. They're just going to kind of roll through. I'm taking Stafford over Brock this year.
Yeah.
I think losing Debo to Washington and Brandon Ayuk being on the PUP list right now for a knee
Mhm.
injury,
Mhm.
I think it's a problem in the passing game. The offensive line minus Aaron Banks is a question mark. They don't have what's his name. They still have one of the best Trent Williams all time,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I feel like this roster right now is I think it's safe to say the weakest of the Kyle Shanahan era, and
Mhm.
a minus 10 turnover margin in 2024 that has to improve. But I got the 49ers going from 6-11 to about 10-7, and
Okay.
I think they're going to miss out. I think the Rams either go 11-6 or 12-5, and then third place, I got the Cardinals. The Cardinals were 8-9 last year, but keep in mind the Cardinals were 6-4 mid-season.
Mhm.
They added new talent on the defensive side of the ball. Josh Sweat, Delvin Tomlinson. They
Yep.
drafted rookies Walter Nolan, Will Johnson. Kyler Murray is healthy. Marvin Harrison Jr., he was one of the highest graded rookie wide receivers in the history of the game.
Mhm.
He had over 1,000 yards receiving last year, even though it didn't feel like it.
Mhm.
I think this offense is going to be pretty good. I actually think the Cardinals could just outright win the division if they. I'm not predicting it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, this
It's a
wouldn't shock
possibility.
because the Cardinals have been building the roster. And one thing we can say is that
Yeah.
ever since they got the defensive coordinator from Philly, I've said too
Mhm.
many names now. I'm blanking on him. The Cardinals have gotten better every single year,
Yeah.
and it does feel like they've kind of been building.
Gannon.
And this is kind of their like year where now they can actually let it all show, like it all manifests this year. All of
Yeah.
the talent accusations, all of the I think last year's, not this one, but the one before, I think
Mhm.
they had like 12 players in the draft. So they've
Yeah.
added
They had a lot.
they had a lot. So they've added a
Mhm.
ton of young talent, and that group is now getting older. They have
Mhm.
more experience. The receiving core beyond Harrison and Michael Wilson is
Mhm.
thin. That's kind of
Mhm.
one of my drawbacks here is you're going to
Yeah.
be asking Kyler Murray to just kind of make a little bit of magic happen offensively. They got a lot of tough road games, the Eagles, the Chiefs. Um, but I think Arizona finishes 9-8, which I have that one game less than the
Okay.
49ers.
Okay.
But they're a very high upside bet if you're a Cardinals fan and you really are feeling it this year.
Mhm.
I mean, like I said, they were 6-4 midseason last year. I think they'll be a little bit better. But can they close it out? That's the question. We've seen them in the
Yeah.
last 5 years start 6-0 and finish with a barely above 500 record. So they need to figure out how to close out a season. But Cardinals third, Seahawks fourth, 49ers second, the Rams number one.
I like it. All right. So for me, I'm going obviously Seahawks first, winning the division. I've got the Rams second,
Okay.
the 49ers third, and the Cardinals finishing last in the division. Now, we talked about the Cardinals real quick. I'll get into that. The additions they made on the defense, Kyler Murray, they've got a thin wide receiver room, although Marvin Harrison Jr., not of stellar rookie year, but I don't think that anyone should be looking at that and being like, yeah, he sucks, right? Like, I think I think he's just kind of on his way, and that's just kind of how it goes, right? Like, I think Harrison Jr. is going to be more than all right in the NFL. Now, the 49ers, they have had a ton of subtractions from the team, couple of which have gone to Kyle's Denver Broncos, by the way, no big deal. So they've got a little bit better on defense as well. They're adding pieces there. So I don't like the Debo left. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, you can never count him out in terms of being a huge producer on the offensive side of the ball. And Brock Purdy just got paid. He's going to continue with Kyle Shanahan for the foreseeable future, and he's probably going to continue to do really well. I just don't know if those defensive subtractions are necessarily going to get them through those tough games. Can they necessarily be in shootouts? I don't know if Brock Purdy is necessarily a shootout type of quarterback, but I think he can get his team in a position to win if it's one of those type of games where you need to score points. I think he can do that. I just don't think he's necessarily like your Jaden Daniels, your Joe Burrows, your Josh Allens. I think he's, again, a tier below that where you can count on him to get you into the red zone if you need to. I don't know if he necessarily has the talent to win you the game yet. I think maybe he's going to get there eventually, but maybe, I don't know about this year. Now, the Rams being second, they bring in Devontae Adams, get rid of Cooper Kupp. I don't necessarily mind that because Devontae Adams is the bigger guy. He's the more dominant wide receiver. He's got the height and all this stuff. Like, he is going to be good on that offense. Sean McVay has a Super Bowl. And if I'm being honest, he is the better coach than Mike McDonald. I just think the defense, while young, can be good or bad. We saw Jared Verse. We saw what's the guy from Florida State you like? Fisk. Like, those guys can produce on the defense, but will they be enough to really kind of be those? Can they be enough to take that young defense and make it into a dominant defense? I don't know if they're there yet. They were in the playoffs last year. They've got that great experience, and they've got Sean McVay and that entire coaching staff to really thank for you losing Aaron Donald and still being a pretty damn good defense last year. Again, the young age of that defense can be a good or bad thing. It depends on how they build off of last year. So I've got the Seahawks first, Rams second, 49ers third, and Cardinals finishing last in the NFC West. Now let's go to the poll here on the Only Football Podcast. If you guys voted, let's take a look at what you voted for the NFC West. And Kyle, we have another tie for winners of the NFC West. And this is actually what you had at 1 and 2. We've got a tie between the Niners and the Rams to win the NFC West, with the Seahawks receiving the third most votes and the Cardinals receiving the fourth most votes. And we have a comment here by our boy Nick, which I'm going to read here, and as to why he voted the way he did. He voted for the Rams. He said Matt Stafford is simply too good for the Rams not to win the division. The Niners lack depth despite an easy schedule. The Cardinals are a 500 football team, and the Hawks don't have a good enough O-line to make anything of themselves. So he clearly voted for the Rams, and he's got his reasons for the rest of the division. But all the other voters decided, hey, Rams and 49ers are going to win this division. And you've got them 1 and 2. You've got the Rams first and the Niners too. So they're agreeing with what you're saying between those two guys. And I can see the Rams winning it. I just think the defense for the Seahawks and a little bit of bias put into that is going to get them over the top into the NFC West division champs. So
And
I got the Seahawks first.
I think too, we could all be just reminded that the 49ers last year was very similar to the 49ers in 2022 when it was mid-season, and I think they were I think they were 2-4, and they traded with Carolina for Christian McCaffrey, and they didn't lose another game the rest of the season. And 2 weeks, I think, after the McCaffrey trade, Jimmy G went down. Of course, Trey Lance went down early. Jimmy G took over. And after Jimmy G went down, Brock Purdy came in. Brock Purdy led the team all the way to the divisional round and won against the Cowboys, I believe. And then the second was against Philly in the NFC Championship game, and he broke his elbow in that game. And we were all saying, like, Brock Purdy hasn't lost a game that he hasn't broken his elbow in. It did feel like that. It did feel like 2022 was the 49ers year. I felt like they would have won the Super Bowl if Brock stayed healthy that year. Unfortunately, he didn't. And then the following year, the 49ers went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs. But the one thing that from the trade with Christian McCaffrey, they went to the Super Bowl. I think they would have won a Super Bowl. That would have been 2 Super Bowls in 2 years, 1 win, 1 loss. But we got an NFC Championship and a Super Bowl appearance. Christian McCaffrey was out last year. And do you guys remember? Like, we've been talking about Brock Purdy this whole time. We need to remember what the 49ers looked like without Christian McCaffrey. That's what happened last year. We wanted to talk about everything else besides that. And I'm telling you, if Christian McCaffrey comes out and he's as good as he was in 22 and 23, the 49ers could go back to the Super Bowl. Like, that's how good Christian McCaffrey is. So I just want to say a ton of this hinges on CMC. I know a lot of people are just done with him at this point, but if he's not done with him, like, Christian McCaffrey, when healthy, is the best running back in football, period. And if he comes
so good,
if he comes out of the gates swinging, expect the 49ers to win the division. That's just the way it is when Brock Purdy has a healthy CMC.
Yeah, honestly, barring any injuries, you're right. CMC is like the most impactful, if not the best running back in the league. And that's considering Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean?
It opens up everything for Shanahan.
Oh, 100%. The running game is huge for Shanahan, especially with a guy like CMC. So
and you can't replace a guy like that. Like, as good as those other running backs did when they came in, you know, guys that went off and got contracts because of how good they played, like, there's still just, there's not another CMC. This is a Hall of Famer. There's not another one. So if CMC, he looks healthy. He looks really healthy. And the 49ers are lucky that that's the case, because without him, I think this could be a 6-win team. But with him, I could see the 49ers winning 11 games. That's a 5-win difference because of a player. I really believe that.
Yeah, and luckily for the 49ers too, like, their depth at running back, we saw last year, is decent. It's not CMC, but it is still good enough to be like, hey, we still got a running game that we can kind of not like, we don't have to necessarily make this all Brock Purdy, all what's his name? The wide receiver.
Which one?
They're number one right now.
Pearsall?
Ayuk. Brandon
Oh,
Ayuk.
Brandon
Yeah. Like it's not necessarily going to be Brock Purdy and Ayuk and George Kittle. You know what I mean? And Pearsall is obviously gonna definitely produce for them, but it's not just going to be that. Like we can have Mason. We can have Fred Mason kind of do some shit too. And we can have the guys behind him as well do some stuff. So
The
I totally
Debo
get that.
thing hurts a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
We saw, I mean, what he does, Debo, he's such a decoy on the field and he's such a weapon. There's really like no replacing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think their offense is going to take a step. It has to. I mean, every time, remember when he was injured in the playoffs and it was like once he was off the field, he was so good that we were like, even if he isn't healthy, if he can just line up, it changes everything. All he has to do is line up on the field, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
So they are really putting a lot of eggs in Ricky Pearsall this year to take that step. They need him to, and they also need Brandon Ayuk to be more dynamic after the catch. It's going to be interesting. I do think Kyle Shanahan's capable, though, offensively, of figuring it out if
100%
can stay healthy.
100%.
And with Robert Saleh returning, they're going to give themselves a shot. But I think it's going to come down to CMC. What kind of CMC are we getting this year?
Love it. Love it. Kyle. It's time for the motherfucking.
Bleeping.
For the mother bleeping. For the mother bleeping.
Welcome to the Chives with Kyle. Yeah, dude, that sounded like the laugh on the gorillas. Is that the?
Oh yeah. Ha, ha. This is the chives. This is the chives right here. Talking about a gorilla song. Windmill, honey, honey, forever,
Why do we not know one word of that whole song?
All I know is windmill.
I want to know the words.
And that was the Chives with Kyle.
Do we even know what that song's called?
No, not at the time.
We don't.
I'm 2.5 seltzers in. I don't know anything.
Bummer. I wish we did. All right. So as you guys know, I made a fool of myself last week saying TJ Watt was going to I was like, he's not going to get a contract. The reason Rodgers is on a 1-year deal is because after this year, they're going to trade TJ Watt to move up in the draft to get their future quarterback. It made sense to me. And I
literally
thought
the next day he signed.
To me, it was as easy. ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3 million. 123 million. That is what TJ Watt got paid. So it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3. The Steelers did not take my advice, and they paid TJ Watt $123 million. I thought it was interesting that it was a 3-year deal.
A 3-year extension. Yeah.
I felt like TJ Watt would get like a 6-year something.
Well, he's 30. So I think that's why it's just a 3-year extension. Yeah, dude. He's been in the game already a while.
I'm 30. That's not old. That's cool.
NFL, old.
So, yeah, I just wanted to say I was wrong. Cowboys, Micah Parson is holding in at training camp. And I thought this would be fun to share. So when I was at the Wounded Warrior games, it's like you compete in adaptive sports for people that are injured. And I was staying at this hotel while I was doing my training for the games. It wasn't the games yet. It was just the prep work that you do, learning like how they're played and like getting your team together and forming camaraderie.
Mhm.
And we would meet in the lobby every morning. And I was down there and I'm pouring my coffee and I'm looking at the wall and I see like all of these team photos every year with the Dallas Cowboys.
Mhm.
And I went up to the front desk and I'm like, well, what's up with all these Cowboys photos? And she goes, yeah, the Cowboys train here every year. This is
You're
where
like, what?
the Cowboys do their off-season training camp.
Nice.
I was like, what? Are you kidding me? I'm like, I could have been in like Zeke's room.
Mhm.
And the way it's set up is like you walk into the hotel room and there's like a small living room area and then there's a bedroom and then
Mhm.
there's a kitchen and then there's stairs to another bathroom and another bedroom. So it's like two people, but you got your privacy.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was crazy because I was like, it feels like I'm at like a Holiday Inn.
At the
I'm like,
Holiday Inn.
but that's where the Cowboys do their off-season training.
Wow.
And
Really?
I was like, I don't know if I've ever shared that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oxnard, California, and I could even see the field that
Mhm.
was like behind it, and it looked like a rundown field. I was like, that's where they do their
Yeah, I
their
know. The Bears would do that at a college too. Like they would do like mini camp or training camp or whatever. They would stay in the dorms. They would
Really?
share a room. Like yeah, it was like that before, like training camp. This is why like generations before this generation and so on and so forth, experience, they should be getting woken up, blah, 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 blah. They would stay at dorms at Olivet Nazareth College. So like the Bears would do that, man. It was insane.
Here I have I have the picture here for you guys. This is it right here.
Let's see this. Let's see this thing.
This is
Oxnard, California. Yeah, when the Dallas Cowboys return to Oxnard this summer, they will be welcome. Yeah, wow.
Is it bigger?
There it is. Yeah. A resident, it's a Marriott.
Okay. Okay, it's on this screen. Okay. I was on the wrong screen. Let me close that. Okay. You hit play here. This is Oxnard Hotel. Oh, I guess it is a Marriott hotel. Oh, okay. I lost it. And I guess that was just too much for the internet. So I'll just leave that alone. But yeah, Marriott. Okay, it's a Marriott Residence Inn, but I don't know. I figured that they would be staying at like a Four Seasons or something. And,
Right.
But then I remembered they probably have to rent out the entire hotel.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. There's
I
like 60 players on there right now.
Well, no, there's like 150 because they have to do their cuts down to 120 like next week or something.
You're right. And plus coaches too, staff on top of all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, they probably shut down the whole hotel. They have a relationship with that specific hotel because they return to that hotel every single off season. So that's probably the deal, is that the Cowboys just own that hotel for a couple weeks in July every year. And I was staying at it. That's where we had our Lamar Jackson debate, in that hotel room.
Wow. Oh, that's the one on the Lamar Jackson debate?
Yeah, we went live. Man. I went live from Micah Parsons' dorm room for training camp.
Holy shit.
It's just so cool to me. I don't know if you guys are vibing with this at all.
No,
but
not at all.
If you're a football fan like us, we're like totally pumped up about it.
That's awesome, dude.
The cuts are coming too.
Oh, yeah, the cuts are coming. It's
is there any big cuts that
Well,
that
I
you
mean,
see?
Christian Wilkins, we talked about that earlier. That one was huge.
Is
And
there maybe one more big one you think is gonna show
yeah.
up here?
Oh yeah. 100%. I don't know who or from what team, but I almost guarantee there's going to be a big one. Why? Do you have something in mind?
I'm thinking. I think it could be a wide receiver from Green Bay.
Watson?
I think it could be like Watson, Romeo Dobbs, or Wicks. I think one of them because they drafted
Trayvon Wicks, yeah.
because they drafted Golden,
the
right?
5'8" receiver, yeah.
And was that like a shot?
He's like a short guy. Everybody makes fun of his height. I'm part of like an NFC North meme page. So every time they show Matthew Golden, he's like this big compared to like Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, and everybody else.
I will say the Packers using a first round pick on a wide receiver for the first time in 20 years.
Yeah.
In Green Bay.
Yeah.
In like going onto the stage as a Packer in front of your own fans, like that might be one of the coolest draft moments I've ever seen.
Wow.
Even outside of like Packer stuff, it was just like all of that happening at the same moment. It felt poetic. And I was like, dude, this guy better work. This guy has to work. Or it's like all for nothing. It'll just be like, remember that crazy night where he got on stage in Green Bay in front of the fans? And yeah, he was a bust.
Yeah, bust material. I think Casey breaking some news for us right now. Jerry Jones is finally giving up the GM role. There's some hope for Cowboys fans. Is that legit? I gotta check X for this one. I didn't know that was a thing.
Jerry Jones is not giving up his role as the Dallas Cowboys general manager. He has repeatedly stated that he has no plans to relinquish that position, despite ongoing speculation by Casey and criticism.
Strictly Casey.
Jones has emphasized that he bought the Cowboys as an occupation and intends to remain in his current role. Despite criticism and the team's lack of recent deep playoff runs, he has also stated that he doesn't believe anyone else could handle the GM duties as well as he can.
Believe me, there is.
Pro Football Network.
Yeah, believe me, there's plenty of people who could handle it better than Jerry Jones.
Right. I think I could handle it better than Jerry Jones.
I'm sorry, we haven't paid Micah Parsons. Why the fuck have we not paid Micah Parsons?
You know, my first order of business would be I would hire Nick Saban, and I would tell Nick Saban that I will give you some ideas and some input on guys I like, but ultimately you need to draft your own team, man. That's why you hired
100%. 100%. Casey, YouTube disappointed you. Steve's saying, I'm 30 minutes behind, but you said Jared Verse had 14 sacks last year. Yeah, he only had 4.5 sacks. No, I think maybe it's like him and
numbers. You gotta pump those numbers up.
You gotta pump those numbers up, dude. What are you doing, Steve? What are you doing, Steve? Let's see. Braden Fisk had 8.5. So I think Kyle was combining the two to make it that like about 14. 4.5 plus 8.5. That's 9. That's 4. That's 13 sacks.
The duel of them. How much did they have together?
That's what we were saying, Steve. And honestly, probably no, you were saying Braden Fisk had 14. But the total between the two.
No, I didn't say Braden Fisk, did I?
I think you had talked about Braden Fisk, or you had said Jared Verse and Braden Fisk, and I think you had said Jared Verse had 14.5. So Steve is fact checking us, but I think the total of the two is 13 together. Yes.
But to clarify, I think Jared Verse this year is going to have 18.
I think he's going to have
I think he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, and I mean, with that many sacks, you would do it. Steve, thank you for the fact check. We appreciate that.
Also, there's a crazy he got to the quarterback a crazy amount of times. He just couldn't get the sack, but he was like right there. I think this year those are going to be sacks. So that's
Dude,
a
I
big
always get the
reason.
sack.
Let me just say one last thing about that.
Mhm.
I had saved this.
Quarterback hits 18. He had 18 quarterback hits. I don't see.
He was
anything about
named AP
pressures.
NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
He was dominant force, leading all rookies in pressures. He had 77 pressures.
No,
He had 20 quarterback hits.
33. Or hold on. Pass rush, 33 pressures, and then
2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries,
yeah.
20 quarterback hits, and
Yeah.
77 pressures, and 56 hurries. Like, he's going to be a little bit quicker this year. I'm telling you. He's going to
how many hurries?
56.
I don't for Jared Verse or Fisk?
Jared Verse.
Well, so I'm seeing Pro Football Reference. This may be I'm trying to see his total.
This is statistical highlights. Here, let me pull up the link to that.
Yeah, because what I'm seeing is regular season.
Oh, yeah, this is from the Rams. Selected 19th overall out of Florida State in the 2024 NFL Draft. Verse led all rookies and quarterback hits 18, pressures 77, and hurries 56. He also produced the second most tackles for a loss, 11, and the fifth most sacks, 4.5. Verse also tied for second in hurries and ranked fourth in pressures among all defensive players in the league from weeks 9 to 17. Tied for second in forced fumbles, 1. Tied for fourth in tackles for a loss, 4. Tied for third in quarterback hits, 6. He finished with only 4.5 sacks. Yes, but
he's up there.
Him being behind the line of scrimmage so quick is almost unmatched. And it was unmatched when it comes to rookies. Just expect him to have his breakout season as far as getting those actual sacks. And I know 18 sounds crazy right now, but TJ Watt, Von Miller, these young guys that are immediately coming into Von's first year was like this. This is exactly what Von's first year looked like.
Yeah.
And then he came back in that second year and he was a bona fide star and had over, I think, 18 sacks that year. His second year was 2011. So I'm telling you, this is the same guy right here. This is one of those once in a lifetime type of defensive pass rushers. He had 11.5 sacks his second year, Von Miller. In his first year, he had Von Miller 2010 stats. He had 10.5 sacks as a senior. Oh, that was at college, so 2011 was his first year, where he had, what was that, 12.5, I said?
For what? For
pressure? Yeah. So his first year was 2011, and Von had 11.5 sacks. But then his next year, he had 18.5 sacks. So
it's possible.
Yeah. So that's the jump I think Verse is going to make this year. That's all I'm saying.
Defensive Player of the Year next year. Thank you guys, everyone, so much. Shouting out Casey, Ginger, Richard, Nick. We got newcomers, Steve, Brandon. We appreciate you guys being in the chat. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button on the stream. We would really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for being here. We hope you guys liked our predictions for the NFC West and the NFC South.
I say Kittle and Pierce Saul were out all season.
I don't think we did.
No, I think I said he was shot and he missed. I think he was on the
he missed the first couple of games, didn't he?
Yeah, they put him on IR right after he was shot. So he had to miss 4 games to go on IR. But he came off of it I think it was week 5.
Kittle and And Kittle, I don't know if we said anything
And
about
no,
Kittle
all I
missing
said
games.
about Kittle was he's healthy.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
said
yeah.
Kittle's healthy, but I didn't say he didn't play last year.
Yeah. So I don't know. Steve,
Now you're going a little too in, Steve. You had us in the beginning.
you had us in the first half.
You had us in the first half.
Pearson,
second half.
Kittle. I don't know about that. But
That
thank
was
you
like
guys again.
Kittle
Thank-
said that when they won the NFC Championship against the Lions. Remember?
Yeah.
Like,
You had us
I'm
in the
not gonna
first
lie,
half.
they had us in
Not
the
gonna
first half.
lie.
It's cool
So-
because he was talking about Kittle.
Yeah. I love that connection. Thank you, everyone who is here. We appreciate all the comments, everything. Go vote
Close
on
it
the
out
polls.
for me, brother.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Love you
All
guys.
right. See you, Kyle. All right. Thank you guys so much for being here. Kyle's out of here. He's got to get to bed. He's got work. He's a working man in the morning. So thank you guys again so much for being here. We appreciate everybody who was here during the stream. Go vote on our polls. We got the NFC West and the NFC South polls up. Please go vote on those so we know exactly who you guys think is going to win those divisions. Again, shout out to everybody who was here on YouTube, on X, and on Twitch. Jinja, we love you too. Long live Bill forever, guys. Go follow us on X at Only Football Pod, and go follow Kyle at NFL with Kyle. Go follow us on X. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button here on this stream. We would really, really appreciate it. Become a member. Only $2.99 a month. You get some sick emojis. You get some polls strictly for members. We would appreciate any and every member that becomes a member here of the Only Football Podcast, becoming a member of the Only Football Fam. So we would really, really appreciate it. Ginger, love you. Long live Bill and chat. Always a good time. Always a good time.